Hey everybody, it's Final Flame Productions back with another Terminator Dark Fate video. Today I talk about my reaction to the new 5-minute IMAX footage that was released. It's on YouTube at the moment. I'll just get into it straight away. Again, it's a case with Terminator Dark Fate. There's some really cool shots, but there's also some extremely distracting and poor CGI shots. We're treated to seeing more of the car chase that presumably in the first third of the movie, where Grace and Mackenzie Davis and Danny Ramos are being chased by the Rev 9, the villain Terminator. And again, it's hard to say. I mean, there was a lot of there was a lot of raised eyebrows at some of the CGI shots in the first trailer of the Rev 9 jumping from the truck on trying to attack the little van it's chasing with Grace on it. And again, they've taken out the slow-mo close-up of the Rev 9 in its human form. You know, you got the lorry tipping over. It's kind of it does look very CGI and very unconvincing. It's obviously not a real vehicle they've tipped over, which if you went back to the other Terminator movies, the first two Terminator movies, if they destroyed a vehicle, they would have done it for real. And again, that's kind of the problem with Genisys and Terminator 3. You know, and it seems like this as well. Although every second shot seems to be a CGI is being leaned on too much, and you know the rest of it looks okay. Where Linda Hamill comes in and takes out the Rev 9 and stuff. Looks all right. Doesn't look anything that special. The last third of this video is kind of like a little sort of a new trailer, but it's in Russian, unfortunately, so I can't pick up a lot of the dialogue that's been said. Unfortunately, my biggest problem is just that the CGI is just extremely. It's kind of like Genisys, too over the top. The stuff they're doing, it's more like a superhero movie where. You've got Mackenzie Davis' character in a waterfall or a dam or some sort, and she jumps, and the Rev 9 flies down and attacks her. You know, I mean, you've got James Cameron, you've got Tim Miller. These two guys, Jim Cameron, of course, knows the Terminator franchise inside out. Tim Miller is a big fan, and I don't doubt that he is a big fan. But how can these people not know that some of the stuff looks great, but there's several scenes here that just is way off what Terminator, the first two Terminators would ever do and how they would do it. Now some people, I'm sure James Cameron will come back and say, oh well, we weren't able to do a lot of this stuff back then. That's the point. Just because you can do something, just because you have the ability to blow up an entire city and have dragons fly through the sky and fight giant robots, you know, just because you can do that stuff nowadays doesn't mean that any of that would ever suit a Terminator movie. And I'm not saying they've got dragons in this movie, but they got shots that are extremely out of place. I mean, if you look back at the T-1000 in Terminator 2, you never seen it jumping around and climbing stuff and kind of flying around like a ragdoll CGI model. It was always standing, getting shot at. It was very physical. Maybe they couldn't do more of it, but that actually worked out better, because the more you get away from the mix that they did in Terminator 2, which was with the T-1000, which was practical and CGI, once you get away from that, once you start going crazy, kind of like what happened in the Jurassic Park movies, the Jurassic World movies, they started going way too over the top with it. The CGI was extremely extravagant and complicated, and they were trying to do unrealistic things. And people will say, well, these are Terminators and dinosaurs. Of course not going to be realistic. Watch Jurassic Park, the original. Watch Terminator 2. Try and find a shot that looks completely out of place and completely distracting. You'll not find one. I mean, some of the shots in T2 still stand up. Maybe the liquid metal stuff is a little bit dated in places, but generally it looks terrific. As I say, go back, watch Terminator 2, look at that corridor fight scene between the Arnold Schwarzenegger and Robert Patrick. The two guys are just standing on the ground, fighting each other, slamming against walls. It was all done practically, pretty much. They even had tinfoil props on Robert Patrick as the liquid metal damage. My fears with Terminator Dark Fate as we get closer and we see more footage is that Tim Miller is doing what he did with Deadpool. Lots of extremely over-the-top action scenes with a little bit too much CGI. It does look a lot like Genisys. The film's going to be better than Genisys, I have no doubt, but in terms of the action CGI, it's falling into that Genisys trap again. What do you think? I'm not that happy with this new footage. Thank you.